What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Horrorble podcast. Tonight we'll be talking about anything from scary movies, cosplay, personal fears, and potential skinwalkers, and mystery What the? Welcome back to another show of the Horrorble podcast. Man, we have a special guest tonight. Flew in from Southern California. SoCal Leatherface.
Yes, sir.
One of a kind. Man, I can't tell you how grateful I am for you to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Like, when you hit me up, I was like, shoot, look at this guy.
Let's get right into things, man. I think people would love to know a little about who's under the mask and your backstory. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and you know, where you come from and where you grew up?
Sure. Grew up Southern California, and one of the things that I always kind of had an interest in ever since I was a little kid was definitely horror movies. I can definitely say one of the earliest horror movies. Well, technically it's a horror movie, but it's a lot more badass than that. The first Blade movie. Ooh. I remember seeing that, hiding behind the couch, watching my dad watch that movie, and I was like,
"Yeah,
what is this?" Like, this dude is going around wiping out vampires with a sword, killing them, bursting into ashes, and I'm like, what is this? And it opened so many doors for me because, creatively speaking, I mean, horror is probably one of the most diverse genres you can really, really look at and 100%. Tell some really great stories.
Yep. If Blade was the first one, when the hell did you start with Leatherface?
It was only probably about 2 years later that I actually saw the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
So you were still a kid?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah. I was 12 years old when I got to see it for the first time, and my friend had asked me, "Hey, you want to come over for a sleepover at our house?"
Okay.
And so while they're all like off doing whatever, I'm sitting there on a couch cushion in front of this, you know, you remember the big old giant screen TVs that weighed like 1,000 pounds?
With the butt on the back.
Yeah, yeah. And they had that in their living room, and I'm sitting on the couch cushion. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at this movie, I'm like, the fuck is going on? He just killed that guy with a freaking hammer.
Yeah.
Wait, he put that lady on a meat hook. What the? So going through that movie, I sat there glued to the screen the whole time. Party went on behind me. I had no clue what was going on behind me. You know, you could have had World War III going on. I wouldn't have known.
You was locked in.
I was locked in, and it was one of the most transcendent experiences I ever had with a movie. And even now, I still find stuff to appreciate that I'd never seen before. Just last year, I went to a screening at the Egyptian Theater in LA, in Hollywood, and there was a screening of a documentary of Texas Chainsaw. It's called Chainsaw Confidential. If you guys, I'm sorry, Chain Reactions. Chainsaw Confidential is the book that Gunnar Hansen wrote. It had multiple actors, directors, producers interview about Texas Chainsaw and how it affected them, how it influenced them in their work. And each of them brought up little tiny details that I had never seen before, that I'd never picked up on. And I was like, this just gets better and better.
All about perspective.
All about perspective.
Yep, 100%. So at what point, so I know you've seen Leatherface, the very first one, when you were a kid still.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At that point, when you seen it, did you dress up as him as for Halloween?
No.
How did that happen?
No, I actually didn't start dressing up as Leatherface till about, I want to say 2018. That's when I really started taking the cosplay thing seriously.
2018, okay.
When I was in college, I always kind of came back to Texas Chainsaw. I always came back and I'm like, man, it's about cannibalism. It's about a crazy family with a killer chainsaw. You know, it brings in such a level of realism to it that you can connect a lot of those details to real cases, and you can talk about the inspiration of Ed Gein and the Butcher of Plainfield, as they called him, and all these other stories that kind of mishmash into what inspired Texas Chainsaw. And then I just kept coming back to Leatherface. I'm like, chainsaw, skin mask, cannibalism. It's all these taboos that like weird people out. I mean, it's not just a generational thing. I mean, you go to anybody and you talk about, yeah, I had a human steak. I had a chili with body parts in it. It's going to weird anybody out.
You can't just tell anybody that.
You can't just tell anybody that, and it's just
Right.
like I think that was what was so interesting to me to really pursue it, is because it is something that is so taboo within our culture, specifically here in America, but it also gives us kind of that gross feeling of like, what is this? Why would they do that?
I mean, if anybody watching has seen, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you get that gritty feel from every movie
Absolutely.
that has been produced, where it's just like raw, nasty, and grimy. And that's the character that you can't recreate,
Yeah, totally. And that's I think one of the lasting appeals of the very first Texas Chainsaw, is because it has that really raw, almost snuff film feel to it, and you almost trick yourself like, man, this really happened.
Yep.
But you step back and you're like, well, it's just a movie. It's okay.
Just a movie. Yep.
It's just a movie.
I remember reading that some people thought the movie was actually real, like some of the scenes really happened. So
yeah. And I think that probably one of the best scenes to really depict that is the dinner table scene, where Sally is strapped to the chair, the bone chair with the arms. There's like, it's a literal armchair. If you look close enough, you can see human arms for the armrests, and she's tied down to this thing. And the way the camera, the cinematography of it, and Tobe Hooper himself did the cinematography for that scene, especially with the close-ups to Marilyn's face, Marilyn Burns, who played Sally. He got so close and so intimate, like literally with her eyeballs, and she's got the tears coming down her eyes. You see the reflection of the light in her eyes, and it's just like, you feel her raw terror in that scene as she's screaming her head off, screaming bloody murder, and you're just like, oh shit, this is gonna get ugly.
I need to know how she brought that out.
Yeah.
to get that to come out.
Yeah.
She had to be in some type of real fear.
I think so. And I think, I always kind of look back at how, like, movies like The Shining, where, the wife's character, how she was just so bent out of shape and so terrified and literally losing her mind, but simply because Stanley Kubrick behind the scenes was literally torturing her, tormenting her. She got so sick on set that her hair literally started falling out. And I'm not saying Tobe Hooper did that to Marilyn Burns, but I would say that with the stress of the production, with them being in this house in Texas during the heat, with all this food that was on the table, that they literally shot for days with that food.
Disgusting.
Did not remove it. And you had rotting meat, you had flies, you had dog shit, you had all kinds of nasty, gross, circumstances to that shooting. And I would bet hands down that she channeled all of that.
Tired of that shit.
Just tired and just screamed her fucking head off. And you look at that and you're like, oh my God.
That
comes
crazy.
from a primal place.
Because to hear about the food alone,
right,
in a room for days sitting out in the heat.
Yes.
It's not like your average haunted house today where they recreate smells. This is like a real food rotting.
It's the real rotting spot. And I mean, anyone who's ever cleaned out a fridge, you stick your nose in a little thing of like deli meat or something that's gone bad.
That's
and
it.
You're like, oh, imagine plates of steak and sausage and just all over and just in the heat.
Yeah.
Just the rotting heat.
That's crazy. What about how did you choose which Leatherface you wanted to cosplay as?
That's a really, really good question. I think the first and the easiest way to answer that would be because he was the first one I ever saw. He was the first Leatherface I ever saw. But I feel like with how his mannerisms are, I really kind of identified with that to a certain degree, because when I was growing up as a kid, I always had trouble communicating with people. I had trouble trying to relate to people, and I still do to a certain extent. And I see Leatherface, he's just chilling at home, trying to do his thing, and these people are like busting into his house, and he doesn't know what to freaking do. So he panics and he smacks one with a hammer. So I'm like,
That's the first scene of Leatherface, actually.
It's
the
like,
very first one.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, and you look at after the second character goes in there, he puts her up on the meat hook, and he starts panicking. You can actually see the anxiety in his body language, and he's like, he runs to the window and he's looking around. He's like, where are all these people coming from? And he's sitting there and he's like tapping his head, and he's trying to figure out, what do I do? My family's not home. The cook's at the gas station. Hitchhiker is, who knows where. He's off screwing around on the road. So it's like that. It's almost like that panicked little kid response of like, I'm home alone. Something's going on. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. And I'd gone through a number of experiences like that as a kid because, my parents were working jobs and sometimes their time didn't overlap with, watching me and stuff. So there were times where I was home alone and I would come to these wild imagination trips of like, there's wolves outside, there's earthquakes coming from the mountain, just like my mind coming up with all these wild stories and theories about these horrible things that are happening, and I'm here by myself and I'm powerless to do anything about it. And I feel like with the first, the 1974 Leatherface, that one is really what, I identified a lot with that. And just the fact that he progressed from that, but still was able to function somewhat as an adult, within the family dynamic, even though he was totally submissive to the cook, smacking him with the broom in the kitchen. Yep. Look what you did to the door. Yeah. It's wild because there's so many layers to the character, and you just, and I feel like a lot of people actually identify with, how he is as a person. Just the fact that he, chainsaws people. It's a small detail.
Of course. Yep. I mean, he didn't even start off with the chainsaw.
Right.
Most people don't even realize that until you watch the films.
Yep.
Tell me what you think about 2003.
2003, I have to give it big props for what it is. It's definitely a great remake. I don't hold it as high a regard as some people do, but I definitely appreciate it as a really, really good movie. I think it was extremely well done. Definitely with the introduction of the sheriff character, he adds that level of sinister
savagery.
Yeah, sinister savagery. Yep. And he was in Full Metal Jacket as the drill sergeant, and he freaking, that was just raw, antagonizing, oppositional fear. And if you've seen Full Metal Jacket and then you see 2003, you kind of carry some of that anxiety of this guy's, he's capable of some nasty shit. And sure enough,
he blew that character out the water. He blew it out the water, 100%.
Yeah.
That's actually, I would say, for the modernized Leatherface, it's definitely the best one.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it as a kid and my uncle reenacting certain scenes.
Oh man!
As we're sleeping in the living room,
no!
Me, my cousins, and you got it. People banging on the glass on the outside, and we're thinking it's Leatherface. And
oh man,
yeah, that brings back memories for
me.
You
jump out of your skin.
Oh my goodness, yeah, for sure, 100% my favorite. Actually rewatched the first one before this interview.
Yeah.
And found a whole nother love for it.
Yep. I mean, you go back to watching a lot of movies, maybe movies you saw as a kid, and you're in your mind, you're thinking, man, these were great movies. And you watch them now and you're like, they actually weren't that good. Or it's the other way. You go back to a movie you thought wasn't that great. You watch it now and you're like, wow. That was something special.
Both of those happen often.
Yeah.
You can watch something and have a completely different outlook on it.
Yeah.
Or you'd be like, that was dog shit. What was I thinking?
Yeah. I gotta ask you, what was a dog shit realization for you, man?
I actually didn't like the first Halloween that much.
Okay.
When I go back.
All right.
I liked it more when I first seen it.
Sure.
When my dad actually made me watch it.
Right.
I was terrified.
Gotcha.
But going back and watching it now, I'm like...
Yeah,
guy walking around, mask, knife.
Yeah,
you come to my house, you might die. So
knocking on the wrong door there, son.
Exactly. So, but as Halloween got, as they created more films, I went back and watched H2O.
There you go.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I can be I could sit there and watch it 100 times. So, For me, that was one of those films for sure.
I'm still waiting on them to take Michael Myers to space.
Oh, yeah.
Like how they did
better
with
not.
Jason
They
X.
better not. They better not. I'm gonna be pissed because that was another one actually. Jason X
Yeah.
was one of them too, where he had the full body armor and shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
just terrible. No, thank you.
Walking
guys.
around like a giant pimple with a mask.
Oh man, let's get into a little more about you. When you put on this mask, right? When did you realize this wasn't just a mask to put on, but it was a persona that you were really gonna be like, this is who I'm gonna portray consistently?
It was actually because I'd tried putting it on a few times prior to going to any kind of convention or event, and I kind of just played around with it. I was like, oh, how am I supposed to act? I mean, I can't just copy exactly what he did in the movie, and how do I bring this to life? Because I was never an actor. I never went to like any kind of acting class or anything like that. Closest thing I ever got to was dance class.
Dance class.
But for this, it took probably the very first event, which was Salem's Market. Which it's kind of on hiatus right now. It's a regular event in the summertime in California, put on by my friend Kenny, who does Love Painted Stitches, the bags, and he was talking to me. He's like, hey, I know you've been playing around with this mask and dressing up and stuff. Why don't you come dress up for the event? Other people come dressed up. There's Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger's and Ghostface. I never see Leatherface. Come to the events. I'm like, you know what? Why not? So I go to the event, and I'm more of an introvert in person. Like you talk to me in person, I'm good one-on-one. But when it starts to get to be more people, I start to kind of like withdraw a little bit. But I found that when I went to this event, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that level of anxiety, and people came up to me. Normally people don't come up to me. They don't want to engage with me in particular, which is fine. I don't take anything personal about that, but like the fact that people chose to do that differently, it flipped a switch in my brain. I'm like, wait, people actually want to interact, and it's doing this fun stuff of dressing up as the character, and we can share our love for, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw, but horror in general, and even just, costumes, masks, stuff like that. Because I had people, oh, where did you get your mask? Oh, what did you do for your apron? It showed me that I could relate to other people without having to expose myself in a way that made me feel uncomfortable, but also connected me with other people on a personal level. And that's why I'm such a big proponent of cosplay, that it can be that avenue for you as a person to let yourself out in a safe way, in a fun way. And that's when you can really make that yours, in a sense that it's for everybody, meaning everybody can do it.
Right. Yep. Shout out to the cosplay world, man.
Totally.
Shout out to them. What is the wildest reaction, whether it be in person, on social media, that you've gotten that you can remember?
Oh my gosh. So, okay. This actually... This happened at Midsummer Scream this last year, and I don't know if y'all saw, but I was the Leatherface Labubu.
Okay. I did see it.
Yeah, yeah.
I seen that.
My good friend April and Angel from Spooky Baby Clothing and Angel of Death Creations, phenomenal people. They put together this Labubu suit. I mean, it was like trying to walk through cement. I couldn't go like 2 inches without people stopping me to be like, hey, can I take a picture? I'm like, sure, let's do it. Let's take pictures. But when I was in the maze, this one interaction gets me, and I laugh so hard every time I remember it. There's this group, probably of about 4 people coming through, and it's like this dude, probably his girlfriend, and then another couple behind them. And the guy's kind of trailing behind his girlfriend. He wants her to be up front. He wants her to kind of be the one getting scared a little bit more. And she is coming around this corner. I've got this little alcove that I'm hiding in. And she comes around the corner, and there's one character that made her jump. And the boyfriend's like, yeah, did you see that?
Yep.
Thing? And he's turned around, he's looking at the other couple.
Right.
She sees me. The girlfriend sees me. She doesn't react. She kind of steps aside. She's like, oh. So I just get right up. This guy's still walking down the hallway, and his head is still turned. and I get within inches of him. I don't touch him. I just kind of stand there. The second he turns around and sees me, he leaps. I kid you not. He leapt back 5 to 6 feet horizontally.
Yep.
Like he had long hair. His hair went horizontal as he leapt back with so much force.
Yep.
And I'm just standing there and I'm trying not to laugh. Inside, I'm cracking up. But to see his girlfriend
Yep.
on her knees laughing so hard, the couple behind them laughing to the point of tears. Oh my gosh. And he gets up, his pride's a little hurt, but you know what? He starts laughing too. And to me, that's one of the most iconic things that you can do as a scare actor, as a haunter, cosplay. If you can create that level of enjoyment and excitement in a person, your day is good. That's a good day right there.
It sometimes it's the biggest, baddest guys that'll shit themselves.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
And you know what? And he had the good grace and the humility to not be a jerk about it, because there's always going to be people that are going to get upset, get bent out of shape. But you know what? He was calm. He realized he was being a little up, and he laughed about it.
So speaking of reactions, let's play a horrible game.
Yes.
You ready?
Let's do this.
All right. So I created this game called Horrible Mistakes.
Oh.
Got it? So
okay.
I'm going to show you a clip.
Okay.
Right? And I need you to tell me
Uh-huh.
what you were thinking as Leatherface
Okay.
in this clip.
Okay.
You got it?
All right.
Makes sense?
All right, let's do this.
I'm pretty sure you've seen the clip before.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Probably 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Kirk, what are you doing in there? Stepping into a house you don't even own. Maybe I should step in a little further.
Hello?
What's that curiosity? Oh, what's this little man doing in my house? Get down, fool. Get down. Oh, he's getting blood all over. Dang it, I'm gonna have to mop that up. Oh, gotta get him to stop moving. Oh, okay. All right, let's get him out of here. Oh,
That's Leatherface for you.
he wasn't even looking for Kirk.
You ran into him.
I think they just crossed paths and Leatherface was like, oh shit.
Reacted.
Whacked him in the head, because that was the whole backstory behind what the hitchhiker was saying. If you listen to the hitchhiker's story in the van, he talks about how his brother was, one of the best killers in the slaughterhouse. He'd always use the sledge. And that, I think that was just muscle memory. That was just reflex for Leatherface to pull that off.
If you remember that scene, when he got hit in the head the very first time, he went into like a seizure almost, feet shaking. And I think that was one of the best parts of that scene.
I love that little detail. And I actually got to meet Bill, Bill Vale. He's the guy that played Kirk, and I got to meet him a couple years ago at CreepIE-Con. And that was one of the things that I spoke to him about. I told him, hey, I work in healthcare. I've seen people have seizures for various reasons. That was one of the most realistic depictions I've ever seen, because people, if they're epileptic or if it's a severe head injury, they get hit just right, they will go into a full seizure like that. They call it a tonic-clonic seizure. And with his depiction of that, I was, hey, Bill, how did you know to do that? He's like, I don't know. I just did it.
It was
And
perfect.
It was perfect. You were so right. It was perfect. And to me, I feel like it would have triggered memories and reflex in Leatherface, because I'm sure he hit cows in the head with a hammer and didn't fully knock them just right. Didn't kill him in one hit. So I'm sure they probably would have had a seizure too. So that was just mechanical for him. Hit it, drag it out of the way. Drag it out of the way.
Slam the door.
Slam the door.
Which is probably my favorite thing. Or not my favorite, but one of my favorite things about Leatherface is that damn door.
Yes.
That door is...
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why it was so iconic in 2003.
Yep.
When that Kemper kill happened. Yeah.
The slide of door.
There's something about a heavy door slamming. It's almost like hearing a prison door slam shut. It's like, this is a finality. There's something wrong here.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Slide open, chainsaw swinging. Slide close, you're dead. You're out of there.
Done. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. I know you said you were CN?
I work as a physical therapist. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I work in skilled nursing, and so that's my professional background.
So I know you've seen some things, and
Yes.
I know we talked a little bit off camera about some of the things you've actually experienced.
Yes.
Tell me more about that camping trip that you had?
Oh man, so this was shortly after I graduated high school. I was still kind of discovering myself in a way, learning to gain independence from my parents and whatnot. And one of the times, they let me go out on a camping trip out in the mountains in San Bernardino.
By yourself?
By myself, which is something you should never do.
By yourself.
Never go camping by yourself, even when you're an experienced hiker, climber, etc.
Yep.
But I had picked out a spot that I had known was generally untraveled. You know, hikers didn't really go there. It wasn't that interesting for them. But to me, what appealed was the solitude. And I had picked a spot where I could actually see the trail up and down the trail from where my spot was, and I could see people coming from like a mile away. Nothing was around. Nobody was around. I could have swore I was alone for miles.
Miles?
Like, yeah, man. And so I finally get tired. I go to sleep, and late in the night, probably about 3 a.m., 2 to 3 a.m.
Witching hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Important to note.
Yep.
I start hearing this sound. I'm like, oh shoot, it's probably like, you know, coyote, wolf, something nocturnal, maybe a raccoon just kind of rustling around. It kept going. It was in my campsite. It was looking at stuff, moving stuff around. And from the sounds I could hear, it was moving big stuff. Like I had actually brought a really heavy pack with me, and I had it tied up in a tree. I could hear it coming down and hitting the ground.
Okay.
So I was like, oh shit, something either knocked or took my pack down from the tree. Because, you know, if you have any kind of food or anything like that, you got to string it up. You got to protect yourself, and you got to separate it from your campsite a little bit. But it was probably about 15 feet away, and I heard the pack hit the ground. And the pack was probably about a good 20, 25 pounds. Wasn't super heavy, but it was enough to be like, I know what that sounds like when it hits the dirt. And so I'm like, what the fuck? So at this point, I'm thinking it's a freaking bear, because, you know, bears got the claws. They're going to shred through the line and cut through whatever, and they're going to want whatever's in that freaking pack. No, it was deathly quiet when after that pack hit the ground. And then I hear just a real soft kind of crunching sound of the dirt. It's being lifted up, and I hear zippers.
Somebody's going through the bag.
Someone's going through the freaking bag.
Bears don't go through the bag.
Bears don't go through
they
the bag.
rip through the bag.
They don't, you know. And so, but here's the weirdest part. When I got to see some of the moonlight shift and I saw the silhouette, it did not look human. And I know that some silhouettes look weird, you know, but this was like a straight on moon was directly behind who or whatever was there. And that shit did not look human. And I'm talking, you know, proportions of limbs. I'm talking body posture.
Was it tall?
It was tall. It was very skinny. The arms were very long, but the legs were really short.
Skinwalker? Potentially?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't try to call on them by saying the name or nothing like that, because, you know, I have a healthy respect for folklore, and so I stayed in my tent.
Yeah.
I had a knife that my grandfather had given me. It was a pocket knife. It was the first knife I ever had, and I'd always carried it with me, especially when I went and go camping. So I had that out. I had a mag light with me, just in case. But I held on to that, and I sat there for probably a good 5 to 10 minutes. And that doesn't sound very long, but when you're watching something that you don't know what the fuck it is,
in the moment, it seemed like 2 hours.
It felt like eternity, man. So that was something that I have no explanation for. I went out the next morning. I was looking at the dirt. There were no shoe prints.
What?
Yeah, there were no shoe prints. Like, normally you can see what a hiking shoe tread looks like, or a sneaker or whatever. It has a fairly distinctive shape, and you know what a footprint looks like when you're looking through dirt. It has that little up scoop, you know what a footprint looks like. There were no footprints that looked like shoes. I saw little divots around that looked like other stuff. I couldn't tell you what, but it was not
sneakers.
It was not a sneaker
boots.
or a hiking boot or I doubt it was even a barefoot, like someone's naked little foot running around.
I'm surprised. I mean, I think the right thing to do was be quiet
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just be patient.
Yeah, because at that point, you don't know who or what is out there, and you don't know what their intentions are. And it's like, you know what? If they're not doing anything to you, just chill, just hang out, wait. And eventually it just kind of wandered off.
Of course. Yeah. That's crazy, man. I can only imagine how scared you were.
Yeah. I was shaken for sure. I thought I was able to keep my cool as much as I could, but deep down I was scared to death.
Well, that clearly didn't scare you enough because I'm pretty sure you said that you continue to go on urban exploring trips, right? By yourself?
Yeah. I haven't gone in a few years, but I just because of my work schedule and whatnot. But I used to go urban exploring all over Southern California. I would go to places that were abandoned, demoed, condemned, stuff like that. And there's one particular instance. It was this apartment building. It was, not a super big apartment building, probably about 3 floors or so. There had been a fire that broke out there, and they came in and condemned the place because they found out that the builder hadn't followed rules and it was unsafe, and there was just a bunch of all the crap that people do to cut corners, and they found all that because of the fire. And so they had abandoned the building for a while there. I don't even know how long it was abandoned for. It must have been at least a couple of years. And I remember it being one of my favorite places to go because you go in there and you kind of see the remnants of people's lives, and you ask yourself, hey, what type of life did these people have? What did they like to do for fun? Did they have a relationship with their parents? Did they have siblings? What did they do in their spare time? Stuff like that. And I like to kind of use my imagination to kind of just fill in those gaps. And one night I went, it was probably a little bit after midnight or so. And if any of you have ever done any kind of wilderness exploring or anything like that, and there's wild animals out there, and if you got a light and they look at your light and their eyes kind of reflect back, it's usually like a blue green color, sometimes almost like a whitish color.
Yep.
I heard a sound out in the field that was right next to the building, and I'm kind of scanning around with my light. It's often kind of the secluded area. There's not really any other buildings or people around in that area. So I'm kind of like flashing my light, trying to see what's out there. Sometimes you can see a coyote, you can see, possums, stuff like that. But off in the distance, I saw these 2 lights, and initially you expect them to be green, blue. They were red.
2 red eyes.
2 red eyes. And the thing about that is when you think about human anatomy, when you reflect light off of human eyes reflect back red. The retina gives off a red color when the light hits it and reflects back out of the cornea. And so I'm thinking, oh, great, I'm busted. There's someone out here. But they didn't come towards me. It wasn't like a cop or anything like that. We're like, hey, you're trespassing. They just kind of stood there. So I was like, well, I don't want them to follow me because I should probably go home at this point, but I don't want them to follow me to my car or anything like that. So I kind of like advance on them a little bit just to be like, hey, get out of here kind of thing. Maybe try and throw my own like, hey, you shouldn't be here. And I get closer and the eyes kind of blink out of existence, and I'm looking and I'm like, the fuck, where'd they go? So I keep going. This is an empty field, okay? There's no brush. It's just dirt that's just been turned over. There's rocks. There's, maybe a few little low scrub, but stuff you could clearly see through. And there was nothing there.
Nobody.
And I mean, this field is big enough that if by the time I had gotten there, I still would have seen them if they got to the edge of the field.
Right.
And there was nobody freaking there.
That's crazy.
So it makes me wonder, was I seeing things? Did it reflect off of something else? Did it?
I mean, what would have 2 red eyes?
Right.
Outside of a human.
Right.
Spirit?
So,
possibly
it's quite possible.
In the middle of nowhere,
in the middle of nowhere. Maybe someone, coming back from the fire, just be like, hey,
we see you.
We see you.
We see you over there. Well, shit. What if none of these things, the thing that should happen during camping, potential skinwalker, potential spirit, or somebody was looking at you.
Yeah.
None of this shit has stopped you from facing horror or continue to dabble into it.
No.
What are some of your personal fears and phobias, or that you could possibly have, that would be like, hey, that's enough?
There was one thing in particular as a kid that I still remember, and I actually still have a little bit of anxiety about. You know, when you're a kid, you go to the pool or whatever, and you see the filter.
Yep. Little square usually.
A little square,
Yep.
almost like a little garage that the water kind of goes in and out, cleans the pool, does its job.
Yep.
An imagination that's active enough brings all kinds of horrible stuff out of that filter, and you know, heaven forbid you think about sticking your hand in there and something reaches in and grabs you and pulls you in or whatever, you know. That always kind of gave me a wild fear of the pool at night, the filter, but even deep water as a whole. And it's like you think about things like sharks and octopus and all kinds of stuff. And it's funny because that actually fueled an obsession of mine to look into stuff that's like in the deep ocean. And now I have such a huge love for stuff that's like deep water, deep ocean. You're looking at things like the giant squid, great white sharks, Greenland sharks, all this stuff that's like deep water that, you know, we don't know. It looks so alien and weird and funky because it's just unknown and so weird. And it's something that I really, oh shit.
You heard that?
Damn, man.
It's a real life shit going on out here
Was
in the
that
woods.
Fuck, man.
I don't know what that was.
Man, we're calling on the spirits tonight. But yeah, like the deep water, deep ocean stuff really, I have a supreme love and appreciation for those type of creatures. And it's, you know, probably one of my favorite types of places to go is aquariums, because you get to see stuff like that. But every once in a while, I'll get in the pool and I'll see that fucking filter and I'll be like, oh, fuck you. I'm staying over here, man. You stay over there.
So it ain't ghosts. It's not haunted houses. It's not camping trips by yourselves, but pool filters.
Pool filters, bro.
Watch out for the pool filters, guys.
Yeah, totally, man.
Might get you.
There is one other thing that it's more of a sensory thing for me, because when I was little, I loved riding my bike all over the neighborhood. And one time I wasn't paying attention and I ran into the freaking curb on my bike and I flip over the handlebars and I smack my face on the cement right on the sidewalk and I break 2 teeth. And you know, I'm a little kid, so I'm crying about it and I'm upset. My parents take me to the dentist, get it all fixed, whatever. It's all cool. It's all good. I still remember to this day what that felt like when those teeth snapped. And I actually had a car accident back in 2007, was it? It was a while ago. And I was riding down the street on a little moped. And, you know, I'm only going about 30 miles an hour. You know, this is like neighborhood streets, trying to get out to the street so I can go to school. And this dude pulls out in front of me while I'm trying to watch this school bus, make sure no kids are coming across the street. This dude pulls out in front of me. He doesn't see me. I turn at the last second to see him. I dump the bike. I tumble across the pavement and I break 3 more teeth.
Damn.
Man. So that totally reawakened everything for me. And so it's gotten to the point where with like teeth, where when I'm having a really tough time and I'm having nightmares or I'm having bad dreams or stuff, I have dreams of someone going into my mouth with a set of channel lock pliers and just squeeze and pop.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah.
That's Leatherface, right?
Yeah.
Snatches some teeth out.
Grab the pliers, pop them out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, just the sensation of teeth breaking or crushing, it gets under my skin. I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna ask you about, you know, nightmares or sleep paralysis, but that explains it right there.
Yep. Like that's probably, if I were to talk about something recurring, it would be that.
100%. So I want to dive a little deeper into you yourself. What does horror give you that nothing else does?
Horror gives me control.
Can you explain?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that a lot of people will identify with this. Everyone goes through bad stuff in their life. Everyone goes through some kind of trauma or disappointment or something that has scared the ever-loving bejesus out of them. Horror gives us control. It gives us the ability to put ourselves in a situation that makes us uncomfortable, makes us scared or afraid or, weirded out to some extent. And horror, and I'm speaking personally for me, but I feel like this is common for a lot of people, that we can watch a scary movie, we can go to Halloween Horror Nights, we can go to a haunt or a pop-up or an event where there's scare actors or whatever. Doesn't matter. Any of these situations are valid because it allows us to go somewhere where we ourselves are put into that position, that mindset of fear, but we can stop it at any point. We can hit pause. We can leave the event. We can tell this character, hey, hold up. I need a minute. It gives us that control to, in a way, therapeutically address things that maybe we have a hard time processing, Maybe we have a hard time accepting that's happened to us. And acceptance doesn't have to mean you like it.
Of course.
Acceptance just means I acknowledge this happened. Mm-hmm. I'm living with it, and I'm going to grow from it in a way that is healthy for me.
100%.
And I think that's what horror, that it certainly does it for me, and I think it does it for,
of course,
a lot of people.
I feel very similar. I got one more question for you.
Sure.
What do you wish people knew about you that they don't know, or that they would never guess from you presenting yourself with this mask? What do you wish people would know about you? Or what would you want to tell people that...
This is going to be lame, but I love books.
Books.
I freaking love books. I have way too many books at home. I read, and I would go back to school if I could. I'm one of those weirdos that I loved being, and I'm talking college. I'm not talking high school. High school was a totally, high school is a different experience, but I loved being in school. I love learning. That is probably one of my biggest, most intense loves about life, is learning things. And I also have a deep, deep love for charity work, for philanthropy work. I've got a number of friends that I've worked with events where we can use horror, we can use cosplay to bring attention to stuff. And I'm actually going to be doing an event in late November. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Making that noise again.
Yeah, there's some weird things going on out here tonight, guys.
We brought the forest to life.
Oh, we got a chainsaw next to you. So
there you know what? That works. That's perfect.
That should do it. But I want to finish off with a special game that we usually play.
Okay.
The last game of the night, which is called Horrorble Luck.
Ooh, okay.
I will give you a setting,
okay,
a killer, a few things about this killer.
Okay.
And eventually you will run into 3 items that you will have to describe to use to your survival.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. 3 items I have to figure out how to survive.
Yep.
Okay.
So your setting, we're in the middle of the woods. We're going to use the middle of the woods. Got it?
All right.
Your killer is 6'8" crackhead.
Ooh.
Got it?
Man.
But he wears a skin-tight leather suit with his butt crack cut out.
I mean, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Because when he injures his victims, he likes to shit on them before he finishes them off.
Oh, that's just mean.
He's a disgusting motherfucker.
And that's crackhead shit. That's a whole different level.
And his weapon of choice, of course, is a chainsaw.
Is a chainsaw.
Yep.
Oh right. Man.
You ready for your 3 items?
Okay.
Or you want me to double down on the description again?
You know what? Let's hit the 3 items. Let's go for it.
All right, 3 items. You got a car windshield wiper. is your first item.
Okay.
A can of fart spray.
Okay.
Is your second item.
Okay.
And a cowboy boot with a spur on the back.
Oh.
Those are your 3 items.
That's just disrespectful. Okay. Man, I would have to say Man, I'd have to see if I could try and set up like something where I could knock the boot over with the windshield wiper from a distance, so it would get him to turn away from me and run up and just fart spray him in the face, because I'd be like, man, you shitting on people. What the fuck? Get him good in the face so he has no idea what he's doing and take off.
A taste of his own medicine.
Yeah.
Fart spray to the face. Get up out of there.
Butt naked crackhead, 6'8". I don't think
6'8",
so.
leather suit, shitting on people before he finishes them off.
That's just rude.
Oh man, but I really appreciate you, man, flying all the way in from SoCal. I'll actually be there tomorrow to go to Horror Nights. So we'll see how that goes.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
I went already.
Oh, so you know.
And I don't know if it was that good this year.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I have a few doubts, but I'm going to give it a second spin and
all right.
check it out.
I'm going at the end of October, so I'll get to find out for myself.
She'll let me know. Let me know what you think.
Definitely, man.
Yep. And I'm going to Knott's on Saturday.
Oh, that should be good.
So,
Knott's is always fun.
Knott's has had the crown for me.
There you go.
For a minute over Universal. So we'll see how that goes.
Definitely for their creativity, for sure.
For sure.
Universal Halloween Horror Nights, they rely on their franchises, but Knott's, they pull out the creativity, man.
100%. Is there anything you want to talk about or shout out or make the people aware?
Yeah. First off, I'd love to shout out my friend Monster Man 1985. He's the man who designed and built this mask. He's been making them out of his bedroom from his apartment, guys.
That's dope.
He does this. He did the sculpting himself. He did the mold himself, and he's been pouring these masks for years now. This is actually the second mask I've gotten from him. Super talented guy, very reasonable, high quality work. I mean, you can't beat it. I'd also love to shout out, mention them earlier, April from Spooky Baby Clothing. April, you're awesome. You built that Labubu suit, and you treated me like a professional, like the professional that you are, helping me with your events and then helping me with the stuff with Midsummer Scream. Angel from Angel of Death Creations, you built that head for the Labubu, the Leatherface Labubu, and both Angel and April have been building these suits with other characters, guys. They did the Jason one, they did the Leatherface, now they're doing, Ghostface. Who knows what they're gonna make next? And it's all super awesome. So definitely those three people, I gotta give love and props to them because they're amazing, and they're part of what makes the community so much fun. They really are.
Shout out to them. And I'm going to need to connect with a few of those people. I need some suits and masks made myself. So
Definitely, yeah.
That's amazing, man. I think we're going to finish off the night with that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm truly grateful.
Hey, all love, brother, and respect. This has been a great experience.
Thank you, man. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great night. It's the Horrorble Podcast.